In modern warfare, owning the sky is everything. And the cheapest way to own the sky is to shoot down, from the ground, anything that tries to fly in it. The Russian military is currently fielding a new mid-range surface-to-air missile system, the Buk M3, that has the potential to change everything. And by change we mean destroy. Start with the eyes, a powerful phased array radar that steers its beams electronically to track targets. The vehicle has a new digital brain that can accept data from longer-range radar, which means the M3 will be able to shoot before some systems would have even identified the incoming aircraft. It has 6 radar-guided missiles with a range of up to 43 miles, a huge improvement over the 28-mile range in the older Buk M2. Then there are the treads. The M3 is built on a tracked chassis, like a tank, making it highly mobile, easy to conceal, and eventually likely to be sold to rogue nations in Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. This weapon is having an effect in European air forces without even firing a shot, says Simtak, senior analyst for the private security firm Stratfor. It severely limits the potency of Cold War-era aircraft and of any aircraft whose name doesn't include the word stealth. NATO forces like to strike where the enemy is not expecting it, so their tanks are built to maneuver off-road over long distances. The Russians, however, have a different approach. Concentrate the firepower on one spot, using tanks to break through enemy defenses. Russia's new T-14 tank, currently in field test, is the world's most deadly. For the first time in a turreted main battle tank, the entire crew is cocooned inside an armored capsule in the hull. The T-14 is also the first main battle tank to have a fully automated, unmanned turret. Which is even worse for what it means is coming in the future. A remote-controlled turret lends itself to building what could be the first remotely operated tank, says TAC. We've seen the rise of AIDs over the past decades. We could see a similar evolution for actual ground combat vehicles as well. The good news for NATO is that the Russians may not be able to afford many T-14 seconds. By the time they can field the T-14 in any numbers, the next generation tank might be ready and they'll be back to the same game, TAC says. It's been a long time since the US had to worry about losing airplanes in a dogfight, or has fretted that an enemy airplane could slip past radar to bomb air bases. But a new class of stealth warplanes from Russia and China is adding new lines to the foreheads of the guys at the DoD. The world's air forces and the global network of defense media have been following the development of these aircraft for years, even before their secret first flights in 2010 and 2011. Stealth airplanes revolutionized modern warfare for the US, as they're used to eliminate air defenses so that older, easily seen aircraft can attack other targets. Now we have to deal with potential enemies having them too. One of the world's most powerful telescopes sits on Army property, standing a lonely vigil in the desert south of Albuquerque. The Space Surveillance Telescope, SST, developed by DARPA, has been gazing at space for 5 years and spotted 3,600 new asteroids, 4 comets, and 69 near-Earth objects in that time. But such work is merely a preamble for its real job to scour Earth's orbit looking for threats to vital satellites, including collisions with small enemy spy spacecraft or space junk. In November, the telescope's new Air Force owners took over, a big step toward readying the telescope for its military mission. The SST won't be staying in New Mexico, either. The Pentagon will relocate the telescope from the White Sands Missile Range to Harold E. Holt Naval Communications Station in Western Australia. The new site is expected to be up and running in 2020. ISIS has experimented with drones since 2013, primarily for surveillance. Last fall, however, the terrorist group added a new element: bombs. According to Don Rassler, Director of Strategic Initiatives at West Point's Combating Terrorism Center. Terror organizations have tried to use weaponized drones since at least 1994, when the Japanese group plotted to use a remote-controlled helicopter to spread sarin gas. The helicopter is presumed to have crashed, something that's a lot less likely with today's drones, which can practically fly themselves. In fact, LARS says, as consumer devices gain range and carrying capacity, we're going to see more flying eyes. This development has necessitated a new need for drone detection systems. One such system identifies the radio frequency signals that control drones. Another, from a company called Drone Shield, builds a comprehensive audio database of drone sounds. Each model on the market is recorded to create an audio signature, which can be used to locate and identify any nearby drones. And in September, the non-profit Government Research Corporation MITRE wrapped a challenge to develop a definitive system. The result combines radar and cameras to detect the drones, and RF jammers to render them inoperable. We can just buy them off Amazon, LARS says. But drones making their way to Syria. ISIS doesn't have all that they would like. Anyone looking to chart the kind of wars the U.S. Army thinks its infantry would be fighting need only look at the amount of firepower the troops carry. The M3 recoilless rifle is an anti-armor weapon that shoots a highly explosive round that can take out a light vehicle, destroy a small house, or eliminate a defensive bunker. Although the weapon was originally restricted to special ops, fights in Iraq and Afghanistan highlighted the need for infantrymen to bring explosives to gunfights without waiting for artillery or air support. In response, last year the Army opened the M3's use to all Army troops. Now the 69-year-old M3 is getting an upgrade, making it 6 pounds lighter and easier to use while wearing modern helmets that have night vision fixtures. Saab, the company that makes them, says no M3E1 models, which the Army expects to deliver to soldiers in the spring, are ready for intelligent sight systems that have rangefinders and are compatible with smart munitions. These include explosive rounds that can be programmed for airburst shots that can kill foes who are hiding behind cover. But sometimes it's the little things that matter most. Soldiers using the current M3 mark each shot by hand and a notebook that stays with the weapon. When the notebook is lost, the weapon's service life is cut short to avoid battlefield malfunctions. But not so with the M3E1. It is an automatic shot counter. A joint project between DARPA and the Navy, Tern is a tail-sitter drone. It literally sits on its tail. This means that, unlike most military surveillance drones, which take off like airplanes, Tern needs no runway. With 2 contra-rotating blades, it can take off and land like a helicopter, making it perfect for small ships in rough terrain. Scientists at MIT, led by chemical engineering professor Michael Strano, modified wild spinach using trace nanoparticles to emit an infrared signal when it detects explosives in the soil. The plant brings groundwater in the soil up through the roots, Strano says, where any explosives cause a reaction. Which means detecting a landmine becomes much more simple. Just aim a cell phone camera at the spinach, and as long as it looks fluorescent, you know you're safe. While we won't exactly be planting spinach in Syria, this is an important first step to using plants to warn people of unseen issues like dangerous pollutants. And even if there are no bombs, you'll always have plenty of vitamin K. In a program called Loyal Wingman, the Air Force plans to turn retired F-16 jets into unmanned aids that can be controlled by a nearby F-35. They just need a few years to get ready. Target date, 2022. In the past, drones would locate vessels to be tracked before cruise ships were dispatched to follow them. The Navy's new Sea Hunter, currently in testing, does all of this on its own, cruising the open ocean for up to 3 months at a time, where it can automatically detect and follow a diesel-electric sub from nearly 2 miles away.
Ready to fire?
Back blast area clear.
Firing, firing, firing.
Putting.
Back blast area clear!
After more than a year testing a handful of major upgrades to the shoulder-fired M3 recoilless rifle, the Army is racing to dole out more than 1,000 of the brutal anti-tank bazooka system to lucky soldiers around the world. On September 6th, the branch announced that it had approved 1,111 M3E1 recoilless rifles for immediate use as a lightweight, reusable replacement to the standard 84mm M3 multi-role anti-armor anti-personnel weapon system, MMAWS, better known as the M3 Carl Gustav, that emerged as a staple of Army Ranger and Navy SEAL arsenals in 1994. Developed for both the Army and the U.S. Special Operations Command, the M3E1 is a significantly lighter and less cumbersome anti-tank system than its predecessor, according to officials with the Army Research, Development and Engineering Command at the Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland. The weapon was designed in collaboration with Swedish manufacturer Saab Bofors Dynamics, godfather of the original Carl Gustav recoilless rifle, as part of foreign technology program initiated in 2012 to save R&D dollars. In response to soldier and special operator feedback, the M3E1's new titanium shell reduces the system's weight by 6 pounds in length by 2.5 inches, swaddling the bazooka in an adjustable new carrying harness and shoulder padding. But more importantly, the Army hopes its re-engineered new bazooka will give troops a deadly capability they haven't always enjoyed: downrange, the ability to fire multiple shots with the same weapon.
That's a good hit.
The current system that the Army uses is the AT-4, which only allows soldiers to fire one shot, and then they have to throw the system away, Randy Everett, project manager for the Foreign Technology Program, said in a statement. With the M3E1, soldiers can use different types of ammunition, which gives them an increased capability on the battlefield.
Back blast area clear.
In addition to increased comfort and firepower, the new M3E1 might just end up being, relatively, cheaper in the long run, which was the end goal of the Foreign Technology Program. On top of a customizable fire control and fuse setting system, a specialized automatic round counter will enable soldiers and logisticians to accurately track the service life of each weapon, according to the Army. Cheaper and more comfortable is great, sure. But given that every Army infantry platoon currently enjoys the explosive glory of the M3 Gustav, the real question is, how much boom does this bad boy actually make?
Like this. That's last area clear. And then turn it. Firing, really firing. Alright. Unload. You fired it? No.
Back blast area clear.
Firing. But that's fine too.
And actually the grain of the rounds is 60-70, so we might, yeah, that's all.
5-5. Double checking. Getting all close.
Tilt it back.
No, top it that way. There you go.
C grip.
Yep. Clear and close.
Yeah, I saw them before.
Clear.
Loading.
Loading.
Tell you, man, we was out here with like 6 guns.
I keep thinking. All right, you go, Chris. Back blast area clear.
Firing.
Bangkok on safe.
So on the actual round.
Ready.
Ready.
Ready to fire.
Back blast area clear.
Back blast. Well, not really, but back blast area clear.
Firing.
Unloading.
Way short. Better make sure you're looking
Bangkok
for your
safe.
sights right.
Because he's got that crazy metal helmet shit.
Yeah, but that's only if you're doing stand. Firing.
That was crazy, huh?
Yeah,
Unload.
Unloading. That's 3 inches. Good.
That's 3 right there.
Back blast area clear!
All clear. Alright, stand by.
Very good, Lieutenant, yes! Back blast area clear! Misfire!
Alright, call it out.
Back
Real loud.
blast area clear!
Engage. Good shot, Nikita. Safety reason. shot you could have.
Just a little below, but that's okay. Boom, shakalaka. You hit it.
Tilt it back.
No. Top it that way. There you go.
C grip.
Yep. Clear and close.
Yeah, I shot him before.
Clear.
Load.
Loading.
Tell you, man, we was out here with like 6 guns.
I keep thinking.
All right, we go, Chris.
Back blaster clear.
Firing, firing, firing.
Bank cock on safe.
So on the actual round.
Ready.
Ready.
Ready to fire.
Back blast area clear. Back blast. Well, not really, but back blast area clear.
Firing, firing, firing.
Unloading.
Way short. Better make sure you're looking
Bangkok
where your
safe.
sight's right. Because
He's got that crazy metal helmet shit.
But that's all he has to do is stand.
Firing, firing, firing.
That was crazy, huh?
Unload. Unloading. That's 3 inches. That's 3 right there.